you're going to see a couple of things that he does. One, a blank expression, right? Flat affect. His prefrontal cortex as childhood and young adulthood overdevelops to squash emotional expression, positive and negative emotions, frightening emotions, and even good ones. His capacity for joy is diminished, but so is his capacity to feel his own pain. In a world that feels like no one will ever care for him, he squashes his ability to feel at 2 years old. And now that's coming through. It doesn't mean he never feels. Avoidant men have deep feelings, but they are now blinded to them on purpose, dissociated from them, disconnected. They also have mirroring neurons. So when you have an overwhelming emotion, he feels it. His brain activates in areas that he's not used to feeling. Avoidant men love emotionally happy, bubbly, energetic women. They come alive, and it feels incredible to be around a woman like that because mirroring neurons, he sees her feeling good, and it begins to light up those areas of his brain, and he feels good in her presence. This is why when an avoidant man love bombs an anxious woman, and she's so saturated and happy, he begins to feel that happiness. But now, as that woman gets unhappy, scared, anxious, she wants to have a serious relationship talk, you're going to see his face go blank and shut down so he can't feel those feelings at all. You're going to see him look away. Famously, they tend to look away and look at you with one eye. One thing this does is minimize their mirroring neurons so they won't feel your overwhelming feelings anymore. And that 1,000-yard stare of just glare, just glazed over. They stare at the wall like this, shut down. Okay. Cortisol, stress, when it floods his system, it does a few things. It blocks his oxytocin receptors, oxytocin being the bonding hormone for love and connection and intimacy. And it activates that prefrontal cortex to squash those emotions harder. Interestingly, avoidant men can feel their emotions, but not during a stress state, especially. That's what has developed. So if the emotions come with a hint of stress, his or yours, it shuts down. You might see, for example, 2-word answers. Deflecting things back to you, not answering questions, a sudden need to go fix something. I have to get this handled, right? His brain is saying, I'm afraid. His body and his heart and his mind, they read love like you're throwing a punch instead of you're trying to embrace him. So you go into a conversation, I feel sad, but I think that we can connect in a better way. So you start talking about how you feel sad. His brain says, oh man, she's sad. She's about to come at me. Something terrible's about to happen. Shut down, feel nothing, convince her that it's fine, tell her to stop feeling, turn away like this, give short 2-word answers, minimize the damage because you're trying to share a negative feeling that you're having. Very common, unfortunately. Another one, that you'll see in him, physical discomfort when he's trying to say, I love you. I love, right? I care about you. I also don't hate you, right? I love you. Mechanical feeling almost, hesitation, fear. Sometimes they can say it early on in the relationship, especially during the love bombing when you're saturating bonding hormones and dopamine in his brain back, but it's very difficult. And you'll see them squirm when you say, I love you. Again, your emotions are frightening because now I love you. Well, she expects me to say it back and move in with her and marry her tomorrow. And she expects me to. What is her emotions going to lead to us to face? How will her emotions go wrong? His prefrontal cortex automatically shuts down feelings before they can reach his voice. I should tell her I love her. That's how that sensation feels to him inside his brain. So you've seen those behaviors. It's a shutdown to prevent it. It's like a nuclear reactor. We sense that it gets too hot, all the walls, all the doors slam shut for safety procedures. Same thing in an avoidant man's brain. Now, let's talk really quick about what your love actually feels like to him. I want to be really clear about this. First off, you have to know he is suffering without your connection. He doesn't even realize he's starving. He's so used to going without love and connection and intimacy, because again, his brain has squashed that since he was 2 years old, that now love and closeness feels like pressure. Comfort with you even begins to say, I'm going to be lulled into a false sense of security and then something bad will happen. Most avoidant men have a hard time relaxing because their fear makes them feel safe. When I am stressed out, I am safe because if something awful happened, I could react instantly instead of 1 second later. This is a man who's forgotten what emotional nourishment even looks like. He has survived so long on scraps that a full meal overwhelms his system. Did you know that one issue with people who survive in crashes and things like this is that they go so long without food, when they're reintroduced to food, they overeat and burst their stomach, and that kills them. An avoidant man has been starving since he was 2 years old. So his oxytocin receptors in his brain have actually shifted away to accept a different bonding hormone instead. So even getting a little feels overwhelming to him. This is why he's never truly content, by the way. His body was designed for the neurochemical benefits of bonding, the benefits you're trying to offer him. But he's been living so long in emotional drought, he doesn't even remember what rain feels like. He doesn't understand, for example, that if he could calm his nervous system enough and connect with you and look at you with both eyes and get through the first half of the conversation into the better half of the loving, intimate, solution-focused part about how to bond deeper, if he can just sit through the uncomfortable feelings long enough that he could work with you, then as he was calm, his oxytocin receptors would creak open a little bit, the ones that are still there. And those could then build GABA into his system, which suppresses cortisol, making him calmer and steadier in the future. That if he could work with you to solve problems, he'd release vasopressin, which would make him feel safe and connected to you and trusting. That if he could do all of this and rest peacefully with you, he would move from his sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, into parasympathetic, rest and digest, and begin generating serotonin. If he could make this shift, all of those brain chemicals boost his contentment, his productivity, his masculinity, his testosterone, instead of cratering from stress, would now begin to go up. His human growth hormone would improve, wound healing, muscle growth, his sleep would improve, that chronic insomnia that he has. If he understood this, he could be living it. But he's lived in a dry desert his whole life and doesn't know what rain is.